Hello, everybody. Hello. Do you mean open source Discord client or what? Nope. Full Discord implementation. Well, I mean, not precisely one-to-one Discord, but like Discord kind of application. Uh, Hello, I'm like, hey, Andrew. Holy shit. Wait, Andrew, you're not on the good sleeping schedule anymore, are you? You need another trip to Japan or Europe, I think. Hello, everybody. So, it's been a while. Um, I've been away for holidays. I got sick. I'm still sick, but not healthy enough to do Twitch. So, okay, what is the plan for today? The plan for today, I think, is going to be um to look into user roles. You're also sick. Nice. Did you catch the sickness from Toggle? No, you know what? Maybe the answer is yes. So just so we're clear, no, I don't smooch with Toggle. But who knows? Maybe there's 5 degrees of separation, that kind of thing. Like maybe when you get sick, chances are that the shortest path through people is not actually that long. I don't know. Uh, so that being said, I put on my calendar a event to remind me to get the vaccine next year. Like I'm done unboxing, like opening winter sickness loot boxes. I'm just done. I mean, I would have done it already earlier. It's just that I keep forgetting. I just keep forgetting, man. Anyway, enough of this stuff. Um, so people might be interested in knowing where we at right now with D2. Long story short, um, yeah, same. I put it on my calendar, and I'm not gonna forget anymore now. Hopefully, we'll see. I guess the next evolutionary step for the virus is to make you either want to ignore calendar events or want you to delete calendar events. You get a virus that makes you want to delete calendar events so that you delete the reminder to get the vaccine, and that's how the thing ensures its survival. Okay, so the interesting stuff that I was working on lately. So I guess there are two dimensions I think that are most interesting right now to push forward with D2. One would be updating to latest Zig, and the other one would be to push forward with whatever feature we want. The problem with updating Zig is that we have dependencies. We don't have a ton of dependencies, but we do have some, and the changes are breaking, and there's many of them. And I try to get right now I'm sporting this. Right now I'm running on dev 1484. I try to update, but if once you update, there are a lot of things that break. ZLS also doesn't work. So I do want to update, but I think we need a checkpoint where we know that we have ZLS support and our dependencies have updated, have support for it. Um, so yeah. Hey Alcaraz, hello. How is this a streak? Only five. Oh, only 5 stream streak. Okay. Oh, that's good. So I think that updating Zig will have to wait a little bit more. I think we need ZLS to catch up. We need to coordinate with the VUI. I think that is the one dependency that I don't want to update myself if I can avoid. And that is pretty much it. So I would say to not make things too hard on myself or the viewers for the first stream, I think I'm just gonna push forward with some, you know, not too trivial, not too insane design work. Let's see, after this one is closed, it will be a good time for people to update. What is this? Oh, migrating all the things. Uh, Maybe I think I would be happy. I mean, yeah, that's a fair point because every time you move something more, there's more breaking changes. Maybe I think I would probably, given the scope of D2, I think even the current state is already pretty good. Uh, yeah, I think it's already pretty decent. It's just that for example, I don't know what is the VUI doing. You know what? Let's take a look at what it is doing. Actually, maybe David has been, uh, updating everything and keeping up, and it's just me. Oh, 47 commits behind main. Last commit last month. What last month doesn't say much. What does last month mean? December 11th. Comment. I think this is before Juicy Main. I think this is before a ton of other things. So yeah. Ooh, also Juicy Main. I mean, you don't have to opt into Juicy Main necessarily. So but here's the thing: the VUI kinda wants to be the main function. So um, it's a little bit complicated to do the initial setup and um, allowing the user, well, the user of the library, so that would be me, to decide which IO implementation to use, etc. Have a good night, Andrew. See you. I'm waiting for the Zig 1.0 update. Oh, it's coming eventually. So I don't know. Sit tight. Yeah. Sorry for the coughing. There will be some coughing this stream. I'll try to mute myself if it gets real bad, but um, the good news is that I'm not contagious, at least through Twitch. Uh, or YouTube. Or YouTube. I'm not going to be contagious through YouTube either. So let's take a look at what I was thinking of working on. Actually, do we build? We build. Okay, delightful. Next question is so let's look at the database. And is it in server init? Yeah, server init currently has all the queries. So one thing that is currently missing, which is critical to have, is that we have the concept of roles. Uh, we have the concept of roles. We have the concept of users, should be above roles. Yeah, here. What we are kind of missing is something that maps users to roles. And then there are permissions. So we already have a table for permissions, but we don't have a table. In a table for permissions, you can define a permission on a role or on a user. So you can currently do both things, but there is no way of saying, well, of giving you a user a role because we would need a table for that. How do we call those? Like user roles? permissions are users to roles. No, permissions is more like can post messages, can read messages, can access voice. So it's like a series of capabilities, and what this set of permissions are is not defined yet. There's a table that can store that information, but there isn't a um, but there is no list of permissions anywhere. I haven't defined those yet, and obviously those will have to change as we implement more stuff. So user roles, I guess. Um, User roles. So how does this work? I don't think this needs an ID. This needs to know when. Okay, let me think about it this way. You want to know when it was created, like when the user was given a given role. Do you? Do you actually care? I'm not even sure we care. Uh, Take that out either as well. So I think what we want here is, well, basically this. Uh, when you delete a role, you want to delete this entry. Yes. When you delete a user, you delete this entry as well. Yes. Also, not null. Where do you put not null references? Because these, I believe, can be null by design. How do you make a non-null reference? On delete set null. No. I guess we can put it at the end. Oh, oops, I'm doing it in the wrong place. Hopefully, this not null makes sense. These are the primary key is role user. Actually, let's swap them. User role. Okay. So this makes sense. Uh, what else do you put in this table? You can write down who gave this role to this user. You can put a time there, but I think this information should not be here. I think this information should be in a log system. Like a log system logs admin actions or mod actions, and so uh yeah. So I think this is it. User roles. So let's start. Um, let's start creating these things because we were not creating any of this stuff before, and now it's time. So, for example, we need to create an admin role. We need to create a like normal user role. We need to create a banned user role, that kind of stuff. Hey, yeah, Christoph, how you doing? Hello. I'm fine, thank you. I'm getting back into streaming. I haven't done that in I don't know. It's been what, probably almost a month at this point. So I'm back, almost fully back. Do. Zero default, zero false. Let's see. The ID. To increment created name. Sort visible values. So we need admin. Do we do IDs 0? Oh, hmm. I think ID 0 should be admin at this point. There's a temptation to use ID 0 for special stuff, which is not a bad idea. The problem with 0 though is that the one time you forget somehow something ends up not initialized and it is 0, which we don't do a ton. We don't do 0 initialization. So it's not like things are gonna be guaranteed to be 0 if you forget to set them. But 0, I think it's kind of a likely number to get sometimes. Um, and at that point you would kind of prefer to put there like a banned user role rather than an admin role. That being said, for roles, I think it's fine. So created, updated. Let's do 0, 0. Uh, name admin or owner. I think we should have owner. Owner is different than admin. Yeah. Or we have admin, one admin, and moderators. I think having owner, admins, and mods is not a bad idea. Sort 0. Visible true. How do you insert more than one set of values? I think it's like this, huh? So we add owner. We add default, or which could be user, maybe user, and user. What sorting order do we give to user? That is a good question. 999 and then band. 9,999. Owner user band. Hmm. And I think we need also to specify their IDs because I think we want those hard coded. Okay, so with this we have 3 roles. Mm, 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 mm. I think default user should have owner, but maybe they should also have user as a role. Uh, Although I think that does not matter because EVD is owner. Hmm. We'll see. We'll see. We will see. An alternative would be we have no owner role. Also, maybe we should add owner, admin, and moderator. What the heck happened? Okay. Maybe this should be it. Hmm. Okay. User roles. Give owner role to first user. Yes. So with this, we should have roles. Then we need to figure out how to design permissions and check for permissions. But I guess that's for later. I think we should also say that these ones somehow are special. Hmm. Like these should be roles that you cannot delete. We'll see. Okay, permissions. I see a commented out index here. Let's see, updated. Yeah, we do care about updated. Oh, you know what? Actually, from the perspective of giving updates to users, we do care about this, I think. Hmm. I think I'm starting to think that this guy also needs updated. There's no escape because we need to give people updates. Yeah. Although, here's the thing: updated works, but if removing a role from somebody means deleting the row, then how will clients know? Uh, that means either users have yeah, no, you know what? Having a updated column in here, it's such a waste because what you want is not this. What you want is for uh, users to have this information. You want to save it once per user. So you want user to have maybe updated, but maybe also updated roles so that you know when you need to refetch its roles. Problem is when you update updated roles, you update the user itself. I think that is fine. Oh, also don't think I can put that uh, here because we'll running this before creating the actual user. So this should fail. I'm gonna leave it here, but I expect this to fail. Like I'm expecting this to fail because of constraints. Um, we'll see. Actually, we don't know because we only have an on delete cascade, so we don't know if this is going to allow. Is this allowed to reference invalid users or not? I guess we'll find out once we do. Okay. Um, okay, so far so good. Permissions. So far so good. I wonder why this is commented out. Permissions unique on permissions, role, user, kind. Hello there, Teufel. Resource key. Oh, you know what? Also, I remember that I forgot to ping. I'm gonna ping people on Discord. I forgot to ping the role. There we go. Okay. So why did I comment this bad boy out? Hmm. Do you think something like Prolog would be good to represent the SQL? Maybe. I guess Prolog is pretty good at. It's basically a database language, right? So, yeah. Would I prefer Prolog syntax to SQL? That I'm not so sure of. I feel like that would have been like an alternative universe where Prolog becomes the default language for anything database related. I think I would be fine in living in that universe, but it didn't. That's not what happened. So yeah, I'm also fine with SQL personally. I don't remember. So I think that the reason why this index is problematic is because these bad boys are nullable. It's almost making me think that we should have two tables like user permissions and role permissions, which would simplify this stuff a bit, but it would require us to do two queries every single time. That being said, well, they wouldn't have necessarily to be two separate queries. It could be one query where we do select these from that and select that from these, blah blah blah. Um, that would probably simplify things a bunch. So maybe we do this. Do we do this? Do we do these? Hmm. Maybe we do this. User permissions, role permissions. Do you live in New York? I do not. I live in Europe. Sorry. But if you do live in New York, then let me tell you that if you go to zig.day, there is a Zig event scheduled for New York on January 24th. See more details. Uh, don't trust the map because the event organizer, I think, flipped longitude and latitude around, and so it's pointing in the middle of nowhere. Um, but yeah, actually, I was zooming on New York, but to be fair, I don't know where the event is in New York. In any case, it's at the Resource Center, downtown Brooklyn. So, okay, where's Brooklyn? I think it's Brooklyn is down here, right? Um, Wait. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. Do, 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 do. So this is New York. So So this is Manhattan, right? Yeah, this is Manhattan, and so that would be Brooklyn, right? So if this is Brooklyn, then uh no, you already booked your ticket to Antarctica. No. God damn it. Do. I was trying to see if I so in any case, there's a good ice cream place somewhere in Brooklyn. Um well, in any case, so know that the event exists, so go check it out. I'm not gonna be able to be there though. It's pretty far. Next Stockholm Zig Day is also coming up. Oh yeah. So for the Swedes in chat, and I guess not just them, right? Man, I never remember exactly who likes or hates whom in Northern Europe, but in any case, if you're Finnish or Norwegian, I think you're allowed also to go if you want. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go to FOSDEM that day. Oh, January 21st is also gonna be FOSDEM. I didn't know. But here's where I will be. I'll be in Nuremberg. So Nuremberg has a another Z Day on February 7th. I will be here. I need to book my flights. Um, but so it's not 100% confirmed yet, but it's 99% confirmed. I just need to make sure I book my flights. But yeah, so I will be at this one. And Milan, do we have anything scheduled? Not yet. Also, um, it has yet to happen, but it might be that we are going to get a second Zig Day in Italy. I think we might get a Zig Day Naples. So if that happens, then I'll also be there pretty much every time. There and the one in Milan. I'll try to be at the Nuremberg one. There's one in Braunschweig. That one is a little bit harder because it's further away. There's Bristol also. Wait, Bristol is also scheduled February 7th, same day as the Nuremberg one. So if you're not in Europe, for example, if you're in the UK, sorry, I know that this is an old joke. It's just it's tough to let it go. It's really tough to let it go. In any case, if you're in the UK, I highly recommend it because Bristol has MATLAG. So you have a core team member there, and that's good. That's good. I mean, it's not a hard requirement, obviously, but you know, you're guaranteed to have one person that can help you with complicated stuff. That being said, you don't need strictly core teams to be there to get that because there's a lot of knowledgeable people that are not part of the core team. So I've seen plenty of them hang around in Z days. So you can have a good time regardless. But you can expect core team members to have stickers usually. Not all the time. I'm running out of stickers, but yeah, that's one thing. Tourist visa to the US. Oh, do you take a tourist visa to go to the US? Yeah, technically yes. I mean, I'm from Italy, so yes, it's a tourist visa, but I just have to do the ESTA online. So it's like you just pay a fee and fill out a form, and then you just show up at some point, and you're fine. You can go inside. If they run out of stickers, do they stop being a Corner member? Fortunately not, because otherwise I might be I'm almost out then. And then I wouldn't be giving my stickers to other people because if that is the point, like if that is what makes you part of the core team, then somebody that hoards enough stickers, then they become part of the core team, right? So at that point, stickers become like their nature kind of changes at that point. You can't just get a sticker by showing up. Then it becomes something more like you only get a sticker if you, I don't know, teach people stuff that can or make a PR. We don't want to go down that route. Role permissions unique, user permissions unique. Okay, so hmm, hmm, hmm. Okay, with this we should have created two tables, one with role permissions, one with user permissions. Integer not null, references user on the lead cascade, references roles on the lead cascade, kind. So this is going to be server, section, channel, blah, blah, blah. ID representing a section, a channel, or something else. Unused for server permissions. No cascading rules, so keys must be deleted manually when deleting a resource. Yeah. Yeah. So the problem is since we cannot have since there are plenty of kinds of resources, um, sections, channels, I guess let me think about it for a second. I guess they are mainly channels, but it does make sense for you to also to want to give these things to sections. Yeah. So here I said server section channel. That is a good idea. We do not know though what the next thing is. And you know what? Oh, hey, Geeksily. Hello. Welcome, Raiders. Hello, everybody. Okay. Hello. Wait. Holy cow. You guys are so well organized. So, welcome to the stream. I am I don't know. My name is Loris. I work at the Z Software Foundation. I'm in the core team. I have a special title. I'm the VP of Community. I'm also sick, but not too sick, so don't worry. You're not gonna catch anything from me. Except maybe, some love for lower level programming. I don't know what you all were doing before, so I don't know how used or interested uh you all are in lower level programming, but that's what we do. This is a Zig stream. So no JavaScript, no Docker, no Python, just Zig. And I'm working on a Discord alternative. What's Zig like? Uh, well, I mean, you're staring right now at more SQL than Zig, but it's it's a lower level programming language. I don't know. It kind of looks like a bit like Rust, a bit like Swift, a bit like I don't know, all the new languages kind of look like. Obviously, there's differences once you get now down to the nitty gritty, but yeah, it's a C like language, so the syntax kind of looks like that. So what are we doing here? I am writing down. I'm designing the database schema and the queries and the indices for my user role and permission system. When you use Discord, you can say, this user has this role, and this role can or cannot do these things. And that's kind of what we're doing here. River was made in Zig. Yes, indeed. River was made in Zig. Also, I'm using Ghosty. I don't know if any of you uses Ghosty. Ghosty is, guess what? Made in Zig. Um, Bun is made in Zig. I should say Anthropics. Uh, Wait, should I say Bun by Anthropic? Zig is made in Zig. Yeah, good point. Zig is made in Zig. There's a database called Tiger Beetle made in Zig. There's a few more things made in Zig. Okay, so I think these guys are fine. Oh, here's what I was thinking. You know what? I realized that here I'm saying that there is no trigger that there is no on the lead cascade thing that we can do. But you know what? This is actually wrong. Because we can define a trigger. We can define a trigger where we say after delete, then we do something else. The thing is, what can we put in trigger? Can we branch in a trigger? Um, Maybe this is what we work on right now, like trying to turn this comment into a trigger. I think the triggers will have branching in them. Come on. SQLite, do not let me down. SQL syntax. Uh, okay, so what we want is to take this and say trigger is going to be called role permission cleanup. Oh, and it's not defined on this guy. It's defined on sections and on channels. So never mind. This goes away. This has to go in to either channels or sections and channels. Sorry. Here. Begin. So create trigger. Create trigger. Create trigger. If not exists, okay. Schema name, trigger name before, after, instead of. Quindi so we can do after delete on table name. Okay, after delete on sections. Oh, there's also update of column name. Huh, but that's not what we care about. On for each row. No. Begin, update statement, insert statement, delete statement, select statement. Oh god damn it! But I think we cannot branch around these guys. I seriously thought about learning Zig. Are you saying that you thought about this at some point in your life and then changed your mind, or you attempted and failed, or um, you thought about that just now? So insert or blah blah blah. Values, default values. What kind of wrenching do I want? I basically want to say, yeah, you know what? We don't need branching. We don't need branching. Okay. So here's how it's going to work. We need to give a name to this enum. So we call it pub const resource kind enum, and for now it only has section, server, section, and channel. Server, section, and channel. Maybe we can call it even permission resource kind. And here we say this. And so on sections, we say delete on blah, 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 begin, delete. I actually don't remember how does a delete query look like? I haven't written one in ages, so delete from table name where, yeah. Okay, so delete from role permissions. Delete from role permissions where kind equals, we do plus plus and then do um man, we kind of would like, no, wait, we do it like this. I think we do it like sd.fmt dot, well, shit. This is the first crash that I experienced in Flow. First time that I see this. Uh, so sections we're saying to delete from role permissions where oh no, wait, I wasn't doing this. I was doing this. Ah, well, it's reliable though. So how do we make a repro for neurosite? I would need to commit, make a branch, push the branch. Push flow repro. Okay, git switch main. Okay, we can keep working, and then we need to write over the previous comment. Okay, can we do it up here? Oh, shit. That's an LSP problem. So I guess just writing that causes a crash. How do we deal with that? Mm, I think it has to do with completions dropdown. It's either this. Yeah, I think it has to do with this style of thing. It's the drop down that crashes for me. Uh, Time print. There we go. So we time print. We're kind blah blah blah. And what was it? Kind and resource. And resource equals um huh. So when on an insert we had access to new. Let's see. Both the when close the trigger actions may access elements from the row being inserted, deleted, or updated using references in the form of new and old. Where column name is the name of the column associated with all the new references may only be used which are relevant as follows. Insert has new, update has new and old, delete has old. Okay, so old dot resource. No, old dot id. What am I doing? There we go. Delete from user permissions. Hey Calder, thank you for the Prime sub. Hello. There we go. Are you sure the case does not matter? What case are we talking about? Oh, you mean this? No, it doesn't matter. In SQL, uppercase, lowercase, casing doesn't matter a lot. Like begin values, create trigger. This could also be all lowercase. It's actually kind of an old style to keep them uppercase. You can keep all of these things lowercase and it works. I prefer to keep them uppercase because I don't know. I don't have a modern sensibility with this stuff, regards to this stuff. I guess also people wrap column names and custom things in backticks a lot. I don't know. I'm avoiding this right now. And that is it. So this stuff already works, for example. Okay, so we have. There we go. It works. This is basically on delete cascade and 0 0 in here we do at we didn't have this in from enum resource permission resource kind. Permission resource kind dot section. There we go. Permission resource kind. Happy? So with this, we have the semantics that we want. On channels, we do the same. Channels cleanup. But here instead of section, we say channel. Now, this comment can go away. And this comment can go away. Now, the final question that remains is, what are the guarantees of consistency that we get from these triggers? Because I would like for them to be implicitly wrapped in a transaction. But we need to read what the documentation says. Delete on channels. Oh. Yeah, good point. Yeah. There we go. Okay, let's read what the docs say. The create trigger statement is used to add triggers to the database schema. Triggers are database operations that are automatically performed when a specified database event occurs. Must specify that it will fire one of the following operations. Oh, yeah. The trigger fires once for each row that is deleted, inserted, or updated. If the update of column name syntax is used, then the trigger will only fire if the column name appears on the left-hand side of one of the terms in the set clause or the update statement. Due to historical oversight, columns named in the update of clause do not automatically have to exist in the table being updated. Unrecognized column names are silently ignored. Okay, so it doesn't complain if you mess up your column names. Well, it is unfortunate. However, as this problem was discovered many years after SQLite was widely deployed, we have resisted fixing the problem for fear of breaking legacy applications. Legacy applications that clearly have horrible bugs in them because they try to trigger on non-existing columns. But um, like I don't I'm not sure I understand this perspective. Yeah, I guess that it is a breaking change, but you're breaking broken stuff. Like you're not really breaking functioning stuff. You're clearly breaking broken stuff. Well, okay, not 100%. I guess the idea could be that it's the result of evolving your stuff. I can see how you could be breaking non-broken stuff still. I don't know. Let's see. For each row triggers, not for each statement triggers. Okay. Hmm. If a when clause is applied, the SQL statements specify that are only executed if the when clause is true. If no when clause is applied, then they are executed every time the trigger fires. When. But we don't have a when. We have a where. We have both where and when. Where would you put when? When expression begin. Oh, okay, you put it in here. When. Um when I think in our case it doesn't matter. I mean, it's good to have. I guess that's basically kind of the if that I was looking for, but it doesn't apply to our case. So we're good. Okay, let's continue reading. On conflict, we don't care about conflicts. Triggers are automatically dropped when the table that they are associated with is dropped. However, if the trigger actions reference authored tables, the trigger is not dropped or modified if those tables are dropped or modified. Okay. Triggers are removed using the drop trigger statement. Okay. Instead of triggers, some example triggers. Cautions on the use of before triggers. If a before update or before delete trigger modifies or deletes a row that has to be that was to have been updated or deleted, then the result of this is subsequent update or delete is defined. Furthermore, if a before triggers modifies or deletes a row, then it is undefined whether or not after triggers that would have otherwise run on these rows will in fact run. The raise function. Hey, do you want exceptions in your SQL language? There you go. You get raise, ignore, rollback, abort, fail. During trigger program execution, the specified on conflict processing is performed and the current query terminates. Raise ignore is not interesting. Temp triggers on non-temp tables. Okay, this is not telling us anything about the context in which a trigger is run. We need something else that tells us about that. So where where do we learn about this stuff? Features, tools, advocacy. Hmm. I guess I guess we can probably assume that we are essentially in a transaction context, but we don't know this for a fact. So where do you learn distinctive features, quirks? Maybe this is it, distinctive features? No. I haven't seen this stream for a while since it starts super early for me. But how does the Discord goes the Discord alternative? Seems like I joined at the right time because I've also been looking on at how to use SQLite. It's going well. I've worked on it on mostly my own for a while now, and the basics are there in good part, not entirely. But right now, I'm designing database tables and triggers and indices for user roles and related permissions. Um, I'm about to have a meeting with people interested in contributing to this project and start coordinating this work. My goal personally is to get my Discord community, so the software you can love Discord server, to be clear, not the Big Zig Discord server, my own server. I plan to move it by the end of the year 2026, um, off of Discord and to this Discord alternative. It's a long road to get to a usable state though, because Discord gives you, or in general, these tools they give you a ton of administrative functions, and it takes a while. Where can you get involved in D2? I'll post in the Software You Can Love Discord about it. We're gonna have a meeting, and then I'm gonna add people to the project. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, where do I learn about the evaluation context of triggers? Because, like here, we have stuff, we have create trigger, but it doesn't. I guess its description should tell us something, but it really doesn't tell us. It should have a section about consistency. When do you plan the meeting for? So I'm waiting to stop being sick. And then I don't know, like he assume between 1 and 2 weeks from now. So SQL trigger consistency. Let's see, what does it say? You know what? Trigger. Actually, you know what? This is the moment. This is the moment that AI can help us. Reject all cookies. Continue with Google. Yeah. Continue. In SQLite, what consistency guarantees do we have from triggers? Provide references. Don't just make shit up. When a trigger fires, okay, give me the fucking link. Recursive triggers instead of triggers, or this not guaranteed primary reference. Bro. This is not telling us anything. Wait, syntax transitions I did not read, but pragma recursive triggers. Lang create trigger. This is like this part. Uh, execute as part of a statement transaction. This is true even in auto commit mode. The statement and all its triggers. Where is this written in the official docs? I can't find it. Bro. Well, the docs do say a trigger program executes with the same permissions as the statement that caused it to fire. When one of the first performance is used, the processing specified is performed and the current query terminates. The source code trigger.c shows code triggers execute within the statement's VDBE program, meaning they share its transaction context. What is atomic commit? Okay, it's as if many different rights, different section, blah blah blah. Right ahead assumptions, single file commit, initial state, querying rate, blah blah blah, rollback. Hello Diablo. Uh, trigger. Uh, it's kind of weird that we're not being told. Are SQLite triggers atomic? I guess. Okay, let's be optimistic. What is this? This is me adding triggers to my database stuff and trying to figure out if I can trust these triggers to basically be all or nothing with regards to the query that triggered them or not. It seems we can, but the docs don't say that explicitly anywhere. AI tried to trick me into thinking that it's trivially so. Um, that it's obviously like this, but I don't know. It's like it's a you either trust AI or you trust random or you trust some guy on Stack Overflow, and or alternatively you read the code yourself. That's that's obviously the right move, uh but again, to do that, it requires understanding how the SQLite code base works. I don't know what's a VDBE program, so uh, yeah. Hmm. I will trust the random guy. AI has gaslit me far too much. Well, but the problem is that random guy gaslights you also. Like Stack Overflow is chock full of bad replies, bad and highly upvoted replies. Uh, and AI very often replies you with random guys' thoughts. So I don't know. It's like an Ouroboros or a human centipede, depending on how you want to look at it. So okay, let's be optimistic and say that this is how it works. Which, by the way, the fact that we can make these triggers, it's kind of making me think that maybe we should go back to a single table, because if we go back to a single table, um, if we go back to a single table, hmm, is there any library in Z to parse the diameter protocol in 4G mobile networks? I don't know. I've never done anything of that kind. What I can tell you is that if there is a C or C++ library that does that, then you can use that from Zig. So, all C++ code bases are belong to us in a sense. So you can really depend on C or C++ code. So if there is no solid Zig alternative, go use one of those things. If you want to see how that looks like, roughly speaking, then take a look at all your code base. It has a bunch of repositories. Oh, we hit 100 repositories on all your code base, uh, which is not a nice round number. We're not yet at 128, but we're getting there, I guess. Uh, And these are all C, C++. These are all C, C++ projects um, that are packaged for Zig. So the way it works basically is that you don't have to strictly. You could take your C library, um, build it to a static library, and then build it to a static library and then link against that. That works. But if you want a more like solid portable solution, what you want to do is to create a build zig for it. And in the build zig, you implement basically the logic that you would otherwise implement with make or cmake. It's actually not that complicated to get this stuff working. And then uh, you reference it. Is there a library for writing the REST API? Because writing REST APIs in C++ seem not easy. So you want to make a web service? Right now, if you want to do something like that, there's Zap. So this is a web server implementation. There is also, I think JetZig is a full web server, right? There's also JetZig. Um, oh, you're on YouTube. So this is one, and the other one is uh, do, 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 do. That's the other one. How do this web server handle concurrent request? You can read the documentation of each one of them, and they will tell you. But the answer is, you know what? I actually don't know. I think that I actually don't know because this one uses a C library, which I think in turn uses libuv, and I don't know exactly what is it that they offer you. I think this one does non-blocking IO. But in any case, if your question is like, does it do like perfect async IO? Not yet, because good async IO has come to Zig only recently, and I think that these libraries have yet to update. Understandably, because there is no stable, like we haven't tagged even one release of Zig with this stuff in it. So it will be a few months more before, at least before these libraries are able to update. And it might even just be that you will want to use a different library, maybe even. I don't know. No, it's still under development. Okay. The new reader writer interfaces are in the latest tagged release, so that would be 0.15.2. But the IO stuff will come to 0.16, the async IO stuff. And also, what we'll get into 0.16 probably will not be all of it. It will be a good chunk of it. I think it will be multi-threaded async, and then green threads probably will have to wait 0.17. We'll see. Because green threads requires, well, you have to do this stuff for each platform, right? You need a green threads implementation for Linux. That one will be based on IO Ring. Then you need one for macOS using KQ, probably, or something like that. And then you need one for Windows using whatever it is that Windows has, IOCP. And for stackless coroutines, that's going to be even more down in the road. No stackless coroutines for now. There's a proposal for it, but it needs to be accepted and implemented. And that also depends on other stuff. In any case, I think there is more interest in getting green threads. Like green threads are it's to get them up and running is just a matter of doing the implementation, and it's not too complicated. But to make them good, there are some complicated proposals that have been accepted, but that need to be implemented in the compiler. And those will probably take priority over stackless coroutines, I suspect. And I also think that those are more interesting than stackless coroutines. Everybody's out for stackless coroutines, but eh, I think good green threads are competitive if you can make them good. Maybe. Okay, so we have triggers, we have everything. How do we? Hmm. What if we put? What if we really put them? You know what? Let's keep them separate for now. We'll see. Man, this is this is so annoying. I am so tempted to. You know what? Too tempted. I think. I think it's just this unique index. Can we get information about unique index and how that deals with null values? Although, let me think about it for a second. That does not matter. That really does not matter. Tokamak. Tokamak? I didn't know about this. Built around HTTP.zig. I see. Cool. Yeah, I didn't know about this. Okay. Let's go back to our things here. You know what? Fuck it. We collapse back to single table. And we'll see what happens. Oh, I think I understand why this was commented out because ultimately um, by saying that this is the primary key, we're kind of implying this. That's why that was commented out. I guess we'll see. Okay. Hmm. Okay, let's I think we have this query that we assume will fail. So let's try to initialize a new data new server. Let's do zig build. Server init. Oh, admin name. Okay. Let's stop calling that admin and let's start calling that owner. Okay. Owner handle. Owner handle. Okay, so this should be all renamed to owner. Let's see if we build again. Owner password banana. Unknown argument owner password. Oh, owner pass. While processing query roles, index 1, fatal DB error, nil, semicolon, syntax error. There we go. So roles, this one. Oh, trading comma. Fatal DB error, no such column moderator. Should this be a string literal in single quotes? Wait, really? Oh no. settings index 0. Okay, yeah. User roles index 1. Training comma. No such table main.user. Yeah. Foreign key constraint failed. There we go. Okay, so this one is fails the foreign key constraint. So that is, I guess, technically good. That means that we cannot put this query here, and we have to put this query here. Okay, we succeeded. All right, so this is now all working as intended, at least to some degree. How do we uh, continue with this thing? Well, for example, here's what we can do. We can implement the we can implement the ability of our role to connect or not connect. So we can say that we can say that a given role can have or not have the permission to connect. That would be a server-wide um, setting, and we could test this. So I guess that's what we do next. Give me a second. I'll be right back. And we work on this. So we basically what we want to achieve is adding a check that a user that tries to connect can actually authenticate. Sorry, more specifically, a user wants to authenticate, and the question is whether they are allowed or not to authenticate. And we want banned user to not be allowed to authenticate. Then then what else? That's it. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay. Let's get. Let's finish implementing permissions. Well, finish. Let's continue implementing permissions, I guess. Also, here's another thing that I noticed. Here we have a trigger after insert that does insert. We need one for updates and one for deletions. But I remember that this stuff was complicated. Um, let's finish this, I guess. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay, permission resource kind. uh, so we authenticate in run, in TCP accept, we connect, and then we run client manager. Client manager does authenticate request. Authenticate request should also do a permission check. So either that or we do it afterwards. I think it should be done in here. It should be. Oh, wait a second. No, that works. Okay, so get user by login. That can succeed or fail. If it fails, we return a failure. Get user by login. Mm-hmm. Okay. So before we do this, we do log.debug. Hmm. Okay. So how would this look like? Um, we have a user ID. So we are expecting to find an entry in permissions where either user is user or roles. I guess we can do two queries. How would this look like as one query? Select something, whatever, star for now. Select star from permissions. Where? Um, I am starting to think that maybe two separate tables was not such a good idea. uh, what was it? Where user equals user.id, all this placeholder, and I think we need parentheses and kind equals something and key equals something, or role equals what? Hmm. You know what? I actually don't know how to write the role query. You know what? Let's do two queries, I guess. And key equals something something. So with roles, how would it be? Um, guess it's a join. Basically, from user, we need to grab all its roles, and then from roles, we need to grab all the entries and permissions that do mention those roles. And then we need to sort them by role ID. Yeah, you know what? I'm starting to think that uh, maybe keeping these two tables separate is not a bad idea. And the assumption is that if you have a user specific role, sorry, a user specific permission that wins over all other roles, and if you have multiple roles, then you get the most permissive. Hmm. No, you get the most restrictive, I think. Yeah. Okay. Where do I have join stuff? In search? Message search? Yeah, select this stuff from inner join on where? Hmm. Okay, I'm starting to be convinced that these need to be two different tables. I'm I'm starting to believe. Okay. Let's see. So let's start from permissions. No, we don't want star. We want value, I guess. We want value from permissions where user equals something and kind equals something and key equals something. So this needs to be value from user permissions. Um, and then this one is select. It's select value from permissions. Now let me think about it for a second. Where select value from permissions. Oh, right, there's the inner join stuff. Inner join, inner join. Inner join. Inner join. We have a user ID. We need its roles. So user roles on user equals our key, where user roles dot role. The role equals. No, 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 no. What am I doing? I'm doing something stupid. It's inner join user roles on. What is the join clause? The join clause is user roles dot role equals permissions dot role. I think this needs to be permissions dot value. Now, is the where clause? Can you give a where clause on the inner join? I think I don't remember. Maybe not. So you do where user roles dot user equals our value and permissions kind this and permissions maybe this is it. Now, how do we solve for discrepancies? So we have, for example, one role that says that you can log in and one role that says that you cannot log in. uh, what do we do at that point? I think at that point, you cannot. So how do we do this? Like we kind of want to compute basically a stat on the result set. So how does this work? select where group by window from values order by compound operator. I think it's the compound operator that we want, maybe. Distinct all. Hmm. Union intersect accept. Join close. Hmm. Oh, right. Oh, right. It's an expression. Like, right. It's so this is more like basically this. Like and this is wrong, but if there is an operator that does what I want, then it would be this basically, I think. Maybe. I guess we'll see. Cross join. Is an aggregate query without a group by. Okay, what are my aggregate functions? Average count, group concat, max median mean, percentile, sum total. Guess it would be mean in our case. Maybe there's more nuance there. Maybe there is more nuance that I don't know about. But for now, I guess for now we get all the results and we'll see where we get from there. User ID kind is going to be source kind dot server, and key is permission resource kind, and key is going to be like authenticate basically. Those need to be part of an enum, I think. When it comes to can a user do X, I like the way AWS handles it. Everything is denied by default, and an explicit allow is required to grant access, but a single explicit deny will always override any allow and block the request. Um, I think in our case, there are things that you want to grant implicitly. For example, basically, I think you would want the default set of operations that a normal user can do to be implicitly allowed. And then you can have overrides for explicitly allowing or explicitly denying. And sure, in the case of of a contradiction between two explicit settings, you I think it makes sense to have the more restrictive choice to be the one that wins. Mm, but if you have everything be denied by default, it means that every time you insert, for example, you create a new channel, then now you have to create n more permission rules, one per each user, because by default all users will be able to see the new channel, and sorry, and then also write to the new channel. And if you look at Discord, there's like a variety of nuance options, like you can message, you can react, you can reply, blah blah blah. So like it would be a lot of spam that you start introducing every time you create a new channel. So I think it's better to have, in this case, a concept of some things being allowed by default. And that would be a property of the permission itself. Like, for example, all users should be by default allowed to authenticate. But then for a specific role, user banned, for example, you take away their permission to authenticate in that case. And then, for example, for channels, I think the way it works is that you need to have, I guess, two kinds of channels: a public channel and a private channel. And then public channels are implicitly um, public, and then private channels are implicitly private. I think that would make sense. But I guess we will see. Hmm. So I think this should look something like this, except that this value is not in scope, this value is not defined. Um, we need an enum for permissions. And these things cannot be defined in here anymore. Like, these definitions need to be moved in to a better place. Permission resource kind and pub const, I don't know, permission. Like server permission, it's authenticate. One is authenticate. And that also means that here in these permissions, we want key not to be text, but we want it to be integer. I think resource should be a resource ID. I think allowing null is not a bad idea. Hmm. So for example, for a channel permission, you say channel with resource ID uh 10. But we're not doing the ID thing. So with resource ID 10, um, then it's either like ability to read or write, and then this is the value. In server, we say server resource we don't use, and then we say key is going to be authenticate, for example, and then the value is whether they can or not authenticate. Hmm. I'm thinking the resource, in a sense, kind and key. Let me think about it for a second because I'm not sure the kind and key makes sense as to separate things. At the end of the day, these are all still um at the end of the day, these are all still the same thing. Like kind is basically a name spacing for key, but it's not necessary. That being said, separating them does help with triggers, for example. These guys really do like having kind available to them. Okay, I think I'm fine with how things are. Uh, but yeah, we need this. So we want key to be an integer. Server resource. Here we're in server run. Here we're in server init. Where should these guys leave? Server database. Yeah. Yeah. Either database or we create a permission file. I think a permission file would not be a bad idea. Mm. I wonder where I created this untitled, unnamed file, which I supposedly saved somewhere. But that file is not showing up in here. I don't know. Okay, I have no idea where that file went. Also, I think the concept of permissions, now that I think about it, it has to be shared between server and client. So it's actually not a server thing. It's D2. It's shared between server and client. There we go. So permission kind is server section channel. Server is going to be an enum. Authenticate. And this should be something like read history, like read messages, or like even access it. How do you say that you can access the thing? Maybe it's just read. Right. Right is more like send message. Access. Can you access the thing? Maybe there's also the ability to see. Although that is complicated, we'll look into that once we get there. Send message, access, send message, voice, connect, for example. Okay, these are just some ideas, but authenticate we're gonna use right away. So server authenticate. Um, I mean it's obvious. Okay. So we put this here in init. We need to reference these bad boys. And actually, this should be kind. Oh, and this should be under D2 now that I think about it. Hmm. Okay, so init should be happy now. And run. We have D2 in here? We do. This autocomplete is not being helpful. Okay, it's permissions dot kind server, and this is d2 dot permissions dot server dot authenticate. Okay. So we basically want to try these guys and user ID server authenticate. This has also the same thing. Maybe we kind of want to make it do a 4 over these guys. Now, so how do we do defaults? So, for example, you want to be able to see the admin panel, the admin menu. How do we say that you can see the admin menu? You need to have yes to be able to access this stuff, I guess. Can administrate server, for example. That would be the permission, right? So, for example, in here we would have access admin. Can access the admin menu, for example. That would be false by default. I guess we don't want that to be an enum then. Because an enum, uh, we want this to be what? Like a struct with decals? And then we make an enum out of its decals? Maybe. I think they need to be struct definitions. I think that's how they need to be. Yeah. And I guess we can do it like this. Where is the GitHub link? It's not public yet. It will be public in a bit. Okay, so with this we have the default value. I think we need to maybe put here a helper function. We're given a database. We compute stuff. Maybe. Uh, hmm. Give me a sec. Somebody's ringing the doorbell. Okay. So public function, let's see. We can call it, I don't know, server perm or just perm. Call it server perm or just server. Okay. And you give me a user ID. This needs to be, probably want to import D2. Yes, the autocomplete stuff is not making me happy, if I have to be honest. Also, why are these guys doubled up? Oh no. No, bro. So server user ID is going to be d2.user.id. Then you have to tell me what is it that you want. So key needs to be server.enum. And then you need to give me also a database. Which we currently do not have. Right now, database is a server only thing. So maybe this guy does not live here. Maybe this guy lives in database. Server permission. Okay. So the way this works is what we were putting previously in run. select value from user permissions where user equals blah, 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 and kind and key. Maybe row. Okay, so we find out that there are no entries whatsoever. So we return the default. So that means that we return at field. Also, this needs to be comp time. So maybe we put it first if it needs to be comp time. No. Oh, I do not want add field. I want default field, I guess. I guess we can make a default instance of these guys. So we can do like this. And then like this. If you need to be stored in a database in the future and permission types increase, enum authenticate main menu, comment dot public const default equals. I'm not sure I'm following 100%. So you're leaving permissions as an enum, authenticate admin menu, yeah. And then inside of it, you're giving it a, oh, okay, I see. So you leave it at enum, and then inside of it, you have a default thing where I guess for each entry, you return the default value. That would also work, I guess. I guess it's a matter of picking your poison, right? Yeah, one way is to do it with structs and computing a comp time enum off of a struct. Or you make it an enum and then you do a default field, defaults, and yeah. I think that I don't mind this. I think that this is good. I think this is fine. But yeah, I agree that there are other ways of doing it. Hmm. Okay, so this is used already. Otherwise, okay, what do we do if we have a row? If we do have a row, then also this is not going to return only one row. This is probably returning more than multiple rows. And now that I think about it, with rows, you don't do maybe a row, you do something different. How do we deal with this? You do rows, and then you do rows the init, and then you do rows dot next. Right. Hmm. This one will return just one row. This one won't. I think it needs to be like this. This is rows. The third row is the init. 4 rows dot next. We get a row and we do something with the row. And I think the way it works is that we have basically, we do var result equals this. Let's call this default. Okay, so we have a default. Then shows the collection of rows. Oh my god. There is no outer result, I think. Result rows, blah blah blah. Okay. So how does it work? So what do we do depending on what is the result? We just override it? No. We don't just override it, do we? Okay, let me think about it for a second. The way it works is that if the default is denied, but there is a role that allows you, then we want to allow you. If the default is denied, there is a role that allows you and another role that denies a capability from you, then you should be denied. So I guess result doesn't start with default, but it starts with with the allow value. I guess as soon as we find a deny value, we want to deny. So it's like this, basically. db.row, and then we do row.int, row.text. Huh. Let's see if this works. r.bool. Is that even a thing? I guess we can do int. If value is 0, then we return false. If we get to the end and there were no denies, but found was true, return true. Otherwise, return default. Mm, no, otherwise discontinue, and you will return default after we have depleted everything. Although, wait, because we do user. So when we do user, if we find something that says no to a user, then it's a false. Hmm. If we find a user thing that says yes, then currently we're saying then yes, since the user has this role, this permission, then that trumps roles. Should it work that way? Should it work that way? Hmm. I'm not sure it should work that way. But I guess for now this is fine. Okay, this should give us some kind of result. Um, okay, so we have something that works now. So that means that we can go in server run, checking out permissions for users. So we can do const as can auth is going to be db dot server permission user dot id comtime key. Uh, authenticate. This needs to be a try. Actually, does it? Do we try any of this stuff? There's not found. There's password. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, we're not really trying. So, do we try this? Oh, yeah, we do try this. Never mind. Unable to resolve count time value. God damn it, man. Are you happy? Does not support. Yeah. Unable to resolve comp time value. Oh, this needs to be comp time? Holy shit. Yeah, that is on me. I did this. Okay, so here's how we do this. We use the lower level interface. We do try. This comes into 0. This is going to name permissions of value. Etc. Union type. Oh, wait. We did have a catch fatal. So wait a second. Why are we returning an error then? There's no error. While. Why not inline? For now it's fine. It doesn't need to be inline if I use the lower level interface. Okay, are we happy now? So this doesn't need a try anymore than it seems. And we can say if cannot auth, then we need to deny, which is like this basically. For user. No error. It's almost as if this should be inside of this. But no. Unauthorized code is banned user, I guess. Return error authentication. I guess this is fine. So this should be it. Too few arguments. Yeah, there we go. Has no member kind. Uppercase K. Okay, we build. Make a new server. Queries succeed. So we can now run the server and we can run the client. Failed auto attempt for user Christoph not found. Error processing authenticate authentication. Okay, so we fail authentication. Authentication failure. Okay, client doesn't handle authentication failures too well, but we do recognize that it's an authentication failure. Right, because my user wants to be named Christoph. Okay. So I'm gonna change this to being Christoph. Run the client. And we're unhappy. Why are we unhappy? Why are we unhappy? Oh yeah, where's the client? Where's the server? I need to run the server. Oh, it crashed. Checking authentication permissions for user unrecognized token curly. Well, there we go. Database 124. Yeah. This is actually fine, but yeah, these need to be question marks, not curlies. Okay. See how it goes. Okay, we are connected. We see that we are connected to the banana server. Now let's take away Christoph's ability to connect, to authenticate. So how do we do this? SQLite. Error database is logged. True. Dot schema. Okay, we need now I think we want to add a user permission where we deny access to this user. So we want insert all right, insert values into user permissions. Okay. So into user permissions. Oh shit, this one is still called permission, not role permission. Okay, user permissions. No, wait, I merged them. User permissions should not exist. Why is it still here? I need to delete this database, I guess. No, I did not merge them. Oh shit. Right, I did not. Definitely did not. This one has user, this one has role. This one just has the wrong name. Man. Updated 0. So here, updated 0, user 0, zero, kind 0, resource is also 0, key is 0, and value is 0. Okay, wait, let's just count the number of zeros. It's just zeros, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, is it insert values? Insert into values. Okay. Okay, so that means that if we run the server now, and we run the client now, authentication should fail. Authentication failure. Perfect. No auth permission for user Christoph. So that works. You're trying to replace Discord now? Yeah, I am. The idea is to have an application that you can use that is kind of like Discord, that the Z community can use so that people don't keep jumping around into different, like you don't have communities split up, not because people don't want to be with one another anymore, but because somebody's fed up with Discord, somebody doesn't want to use Zulip, somebody doesn't want to use another thing. Obviously, people will still have tool preferences, so it's not like everybody will want to switch to this thing. That is perfectly fine. People that want to use a forum should keep using a forum. But for example, it sucks um, when people would be generally fine with the category of tool that you're using, except that the tool keeps sucking because they keep doing stuff to it. Like Discord, I think is a prime example of that. Discord in general is a great tool, in my opinion. Or let me maybe namespace this a little bit. If you like instant messaging, then as far as instant messaging goes, Discord is pretty good. But it has a lot of gamer bullshit and it wants to milk you for money. And that stuff keeps like that knob keeps being turned up constantly, right? The people running it, they're constantly doing this. They're constantly boiling the frog. And you get boiled once, you get boiled twice, you get boiled 3 times. At some point, you know, at some point, it's just too much. You need to realize that all they do is boiling the frog. Um, so you have to do something about it. And currently, the open source alternatives that I can think of, none of them really makes me happy. Maybe some are fine as a user. For example, there's Revolt, which I think is, which I vaguely remember as okay. For I used it very very briefly, so I don't have any in depth nuanced opinion. But at first glance, it's okay from a user perspective. But I remember considering running an instance of it, and it's like the usual pile of garbage stuff that I don't want to manage as a server admin. So, for example, this tool is meant to be one executable, one database, one config file. That's it. The database is SQLite. So, one SQLite database file, one config file, the executable, and that's it. Nothing else. Maybe it will leverage some external tooling. For example, probably the server should be able to send you emails. So if we want to give users a reset my password link, then we need to be able to send out emails, that kind of stuff. So it's not how can I say, some complexity has to be there if you want to give a good experience to your users. Or if you don't do that, then you're kind of trading this for admin annoyance, meaning that now then users will have to email the admin, and the admin will have to manually do a password reset, and also check that the person asking for the password reset is who they claim to be. So it's trade-offs of that kind. There's no, not always can be solved by simply not doing it. But there are better and worse ways of doing all these things. And for example, requiring you to run, I don't know, like distributing the project as a what is it called? What is the thing that has playbooks? Is it Ansible? Like, is it, if it's you distribute it as an Ansible playbook that requires you to have a Kubernetes cluster that runs a bunch of Docker containers with a bajillion things going on all the time, the thing keeps pooping itself. So that is not good, and I think that we can definitely avoid that. Firefox removing we're not selling your data line. Oh, well, yeah, Firefox has been bad for a long time. I really don't like Firefox, not because technically is particularly bad, but it's just Mozilla is not a good company, and people should not protect it. I personally, I would like to see Mozilla burn so that hopefully something good can be reborn from its ashes. As long as we keep Mozilla alive, nothing better will take its place, I suspect. Or, look, sometimes burning, when you're like growing stuff, and sometimes burning down all the dead weeds, yeah, it's good. It's good for the ground. Like, Just fork Firefox and remove the malware. Oh man. Anyway, in my case, this is what I'm doing. I'm making a chat application from scratch. So we have the basics of user permissions. These are the very basics, but we do have something. So I basically added, I added a negative user permission. I removed my permission to log in, to authenticate, and the server correctly denied my authentication request. So I guess that's good. By the way, it would probably not be a bad idea to prevent users from adding restrictions to the admin or to the owner account. I think the owner account should be like you shouldn't lock the user the owner account out. That is a problem, isn't it? In any case, so what do we do next? I think let me think about it for a second. So I have to eat lunch, that's for sure. You know what? I think that since I'm not yet 100% back where I want to be health wise, I think I'm gonna take it easy. I think I'm gonna stop the stream here, eat lunch, and probably do some more work off stream. But you get the idea. This is how you uh, work on this type of application piece by piece. A lot of it is just very boring. Design the database, design the queries, implement the business logic. And yeah, it's very boring. Hey, Rocco Rager, sorry, you're arriving kind of at the end of it. I started early today, and I feel like I'm kind of running out of energy. Software you can love Discord or full offline? Probably software you can love Discord. Yeah, probably. But yeah, so if Zig become 1.0.0, what does that mean? I don't know. What does that mean? Sorry. Sorry, the question what does that mean is like, I don't know. How philosophical do you want to get about it? Like, what does that mean if Zig reaches 1.0? I don't know. There's probably a lot of implications behind that fact if you want to really dig deep. If you just are asking like semantic versioning wise, what does that mean? In me 1.0 means the promise of backwards compatibility with other 1.x releases. That's all it does. Anyway, well, thank you all for hanging out. You should expect me to also stream tomorrow if you're interested. I'm not going to work exclusively on D2 now on. I will occasionally jump on other things. But D2 will mainly be it. And yeah, so also if you are getting into Zig and you have any questions, this is also a good place where to ask questions. Like you get stuck, you get a compiler error that you don't understand. Obviously, there are limits to what I can read on Twitch, but you know, as long as it's nothing too insane, I can help you out with that. And more in general, we can chat also about the new async IO stuff coming to Zig and Juicy Main and all the cool things. By the way, I have yet to try out Juicy Main. Andrew pushed Juicy Main, what is it, like now 2 weeks ago? I haven't had a chance to try it out yet. Kind of sad. But yeah. So see you probably tomorrow, or if you drop by the Discord server, I will probably be in the Discord server later today. And I don't know, let's get off of Discord. Let's make a good alternative so that we can chat and I don't know, not be spammed by the damn Nitro stuff and whatever. So see you all next time.